Just waiting for it to pop up in my other window to make sure it's actually...
Sure, I can cut this out after.
Yep, good to go.
Okay. It's not playing on my end. Is that normal?
What isn't?
The video?
On the Twitch stream?
I'm actually just looking at the Hangout right now.
Oh yeah, no, that's not playing yet.
Okay, good.
Yep,
Okay, so I'll start in a few
I was
seconds.
gonna wait until we start talking about it, but I
Yeah,
could start
okay.
it now, that's fine. Here we go.
Yeah, I just got muted.
Oh, yeah, me too. All better.
All good. Okay, a few seconds.
Yep.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode number 4 of All the Games podcast on May the 10th, 2014. I'd like to thank you for joining us once again on this journey of video game Splendor. Joining me once again is my good friend Borne. How are you doing tonight, Borne?
Doing great, thank you.
Good. We're trying something a little bit new tonight for the first time in All the Games history, which is, albeit short, we are doing video tonight. We're streaming this over Twitch and Google Hangouts, and we're going to have a YouTube recording as well. So please bear with us as we work out the kinks, as this is our first time dealing with video. But I think it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to be talking about video games. We're going to have them up on the screen for you guys to watch, and it's going to be cool. We're going to have a lot of fun. So how's your week been, buddy?
It's been great. Work, trying to get in a decent amount of game playing so that we have stuff to talk about. We got it in a little late last week, but
Yeah.
still, I think got in enough game time during the week to have some good stuff to talk about. And there was a decent amount of news going on.
Yeah, there was. It's been a big week in video games, and I'm sure we'll get to that in our news segment. Lots of interesting stuff. Lots of it I'm very hyped about. One game in particular, but we'll get to that. But as we always start out we're going to talk about what we've been playing this week. And you know what? Just to change things up a little bit, why don't I start? You know what? I've been playing pretty much the same thing that I play every week, or the last couple of weeks anyway. So I'm still playing World of Warcraft, getting back into playing that, and just finding out exactly how much different the game is since I played regularly.
So
back in
what's
the
the
day.
biggest difference for you?
Man, it's like a completely different game. Like, first of all, the landscape. Like, I did get Cataclysm, and as you know, with Cataclysm, they changed the entire landscape. We're in a lot of the zones. Everything looks different, or in different places, and there's ravines where there wasn't before, or cracks in the ground where there wasn't before. So getting used to that, especially in the Night Elf starting area from 10 to 20, that area, I forget what it's called right now, but after the initial starting zone and once you leave Darnassus,
Ashenvale, I think.
yeah, it's completely wrecked. So getting around that has been different and interesting, but I'm playing a Night Elf Druid and loving it, actually. It's the first time I've been playing a Druid pretty regularly in all of my World of Warcraft history, and I'm loving it. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
And
You know,
so you
not
made
sure
it.
why.
You
I never
made a
played it
new one.
before. Yeah, I made a brand new one.
Yeah.
I also managed to get my account back, the account from when you and I used to play back in the day when we were recording World of Warcraft Chronicles. For years after that, I had lost access to the account. I just could not remember the password, and I thought sometime over the years that I had tried regaining the password or getting it back, and I had failed at doing so. And then I tried, I guess, late last week, and I happened to remember on my first guess what the password was. So I was elated to see that I had access to all of my maxed out level 80 characters. Yeah, so it's been fun. I played a little bit of my Pally, who's level 80, now maxed out at the time, obviously not level 90 now, but it was maxed out at the time that I stopped playing, so I got back on it and been running around Ice Crown a little bit and just seeing how empty it is. I was in Dalaran. I actually zoned into Dalaran, and you have to remember that this is the first time I'd been on this character in about 4 years. And the last time I was in Dalaran, it was, the bustling metropolis of World of Warcraft, and now there
Yeah.
was
Nobody.
5 people in the zone. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was nobody there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sad in a way, right? Because you have so many memories there, and it was where you met up with your friends, and
Yeah.
you just did everything there.
Yeah.
But now it's complete.
You can say the same for Shatrath, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. So now, and I had asked you the other night, where's everybody hanging out? And I think you had said Stormwind and Iron Forge and what have you.
Yeah.
And when it was Warcraft Vanilla, that is where everybody hung out, especially Iron Forge for the Alliance. And it's neat to see that it's kind of back to that now. So,
Yeah.
but I was a little sad
it,
that Dalaran was so empty. So,
it is interesting. They could have, I think, kept those other cities. They could have really spread out the population a little better if, like, what they ended up doing was in Stormwind, you end up having portals to a lot of the other zones there. Like, there's a port over to the Panda area. There's a port to a lot of the Cataclysm zones, like each of the individual zones there. And there's no reason why they couldn't have really had the same thing in Dalaran to support having people there, and maybe even in Shatrath, right? So that those other cities don't just get massively overcrowded. But I guess maybe it's not a concern of theirs.
I guess not. I mean, I always wondered if it had something to do. Especially when an expansion comes out. If it had something to do with load balance, or I always thought, well, why don't they spread out all of the necessary things that everybody's going to be looking for in some of the other cities? But it always seemed that everybody tend to hung out in the new city that came with the expansion pack, right? Like whether it was Shadrath or Dalaran or what have you.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I guess I'm kind of happy to see that Stormwind is back to being the main area that people hang out in. And if you've been in Goldshire lately, people hang out out in that area in Goldshire, right by the inn. A lot of people hanging out there and dueling. So it's busy, but
Right.
yeah, it was a little sad to see down
They do all sorts of things in Goldshire. Yeah. Upstairs at the inn, you end up seeing various people in states of undress. It's very awkward.
Yeah, that's true. I went up there the other night to get my first aid training, and
Oddly crowded, was it?
oddly crowded. Like, boy, everybody's all of a sudden interested in nursing. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't.
That's what it was.
So,
Or playing doctor, something like that. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. The sexy nurse.
Yes.
So yeah, it was. Yeah, so yeah, there's that. Just where everybody's hanging out in the game these days, and the landscape. But just like I played a little bit of the Worgen starting area as well, and it was just a lot more story based, right? Like they took you through. And it was just a lot more narrative than say starting a human in Northshire or a Night Elf in Dalaran. So.
Yeah.
There's that as well. It was nice to see that. I don't know. It just felt a lot different. I don't know really how else to explain it, but
yeah, I think they ended up getting more story, like particularly the Worgen and the goblins.
Yep.
I would say the Worgen even more so than the goblins. But you end up having kind of similar with the panda.
Mm-hmm.
Even though of all the new races, I think I kind of like the new. Okay, I guess they shouldn't be new races. The races that came out after launch. As much as some people say they don't like the Worgen experience, I thought it was really unique in comparison to the rest of them.
Yeah, I liked it. I've taken now. Granted, my Worgen isn't high level, but I've taken it through the starting area, and I liked what they did. And I did a little bit of the goblin stuff, but I'd like to go back to it because I haven't done really a whole lot.
Yeah, you should get at least each of the new race experiences, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing
That's cool.
that, having a lot of fun with the Druid. I know the game's old, but I've gone back to it because it runs on my PC. So it runs well on my PC. I'm actually going to try streaming it. I don't know if anybody will watch a non-level 90
I'll
player
watch.
play it, but you'll watch?
I'll
Thanks,
watch.
buddy.
A little bit.
Good. Yeah. What else have I been playing? Is that what we're doing? We're just gonna go through our
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
list.
go on through.
Okay. So I've also been playing a little bit of Quake 3 Arena in the browser. That's where it's being played these days. Now, back in the day when Quake 3 Arena came out, I was huge into that game. I played it every night. Had a lot of fun with it. I also played a lot of Quake 2. Um, but Quake 3 was where it was at. So I just got to thinking the other day, I wonder if it's still kicking, still around. And sure enough, yeah, its software's got it playing in a browser these days.
And there are a lot of people playing it to play against?
Yeah, yeah. There seemed to be somebody in a match ready to go. So it also got me thinking. We're going to talk to this a little bit later, kind of. Is the fact that I played so much Quake 3 Arena, I wondered if Unreal Tournament was still around because I love that game as well. The very fast-paced action first-person shooter kind of,
Yeah.
shoot, die, and repeat.
I always played a lot more Unreal Tournament than Quake historically.
Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did play both. I loved both. I'd love to see them do another Quake in the series, although I don't know if there's really a market for that anymore.
I'm pretty
Um,
sure there's something in the works. If you go and you look on Steam at the Wolfenstein pre-order,
mhm.
you also end up getting into the beta of, boy, I think it's either a Quake or a Doom type sequel. So
Yeah,
there's something in the
I
works.
yeah, I thought it was Doom 4, which I also loved that series.
Yeah.
And lots
I
of
mean, essentially the
cool
same
characters.
thing, right?
Yeah,
Quake, Doom,
yeah,
whatever.
right.
It's
I as much as I say I loved Quake, I think Doom was my all-time favorite. Like right from the beginning, first Doom, right through Doom 3, and it's because I love the Alien franchise so much, and I can't wait for Alien Isolation. It's going to be an awesome game.
Oh, it's interesting that you bring that up. We get off on a lot of tangents here.
Yeah, we do, we
Uh,
do.
but I just saw that there was some expansion. As much as I hate paying for any of the Call of Duty junk, because I bought Ghosts, but then I just looked today, and I guess they've come out with like $50 worth of DLC already because they're just the masters of money grubbing. But
fifty dollars.
one of the most
Wow.
recent ones looked like it was like $15, and it looked like you could essentially play as and against a predator type of
Huh.
character, which is pretty cool. I
Yeah.
think that sort of mode has always been interesting. It
Yeah.
has very rarely been very well done,
Yeah.
and as much as they're generally serious money grabbers, usually the stuff that they put out is like decently polished. So I was torn for a second. I was like, boy, maybe I want to spend the money and try that out, but
Mhm.
I hate to be someone who supports that kind of behavior as far as DLC goes.
Yeah. You're not a big DLC fan.
Um, Not when it's overpriced and
Yeah.
they put out 1,000 things and have a lot of content that really should have been in the original game that comes out as DLC, and
Yeah.
just uh, Call of Duty and just EA in general have been really bad about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it is a business. They are there to make money, but it does. You're right. It does seem unfair sometimes that things that you feel should be included in the original game are, and you end up having to pay an extra $10 for it. So okay, so we do get off on tangents. Next game that I'm playing, I also loaded up Counterstrike Source, and again, an old game, but I've gone back to it. I did play a lot of Counter-Strike back in the day. Completely terrible at it these days. I used to be good, but I think that's just from not playing it recently. But I'm getting back into it, and again, it runs well on my PC, so why not? And
Yeah, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, not much else to say about it. And then last but not least, I did load up Skyrim as well this week, and just playing some of the side quest stuff that I never bothered to do the first time I had gone through the story. And
Right.
I'm surprised to see how much stuff there is in the game on top of the main storyline. There's lots of cool
Yeah.
places to
And that
explore.
actually runs well, or do you have to turn things pretty far down on that one?
I'm actually not playing it on PC. I'm playing it on Xbox 360.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so yeah, it runs fine. Yeah, just having a good time with it, and part of it is because my boys, I play with them, but they don't play. They watch me play, and I sort of let them direct me where to go and what to do. I think we had talked about this maybe on episode 2, how they wanted me to kill the wife of the guy that was helping me steal her cheese and then let her have it. So they get a kick out of that kind of stuff. So I'm sort of building up my you know skills and stuff so that I can go anywhere and do anything, even though I've beaten the game now. But yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I've done this week. How
That's
about
good.
you?
And did you end up? Did you didn't get any of the DLC for it though? Because there was like something where you can like maybe ride around on dragons or something, and then like turn into some sort of super vampire thing. And
Yeah, no, I
yeah,
never got any of the DLC. I don't know if I will now. There's so many games coming out that I have to focus on, and it'll likely be PS4 that I'm playing them on, is what
yeah,
I'm thinking at this point. And I know I've talked about PC. I guess I'm still sort of up in the air, but we'll see what happens. Right now I'm leaning PS4, especially after seeing your stream tonight on Trials.
yeah,
Yeah, it came out really good, so I think I'm leaning PS4.
yeah. No, it's really really easy to get that going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially if it looks that good and we can integrate, the camera into it and the chat and everything.
yeah,
That's ultimately what I'd like to see with the cast here. So
yeah. And then we can actually play together.
yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So how about yourself? You've been playing what?
Yes. Splinter Cell Blacklist. I know it's a little dated now. I mean, it's the most recent Splinter Cell, but Will and I had been doing a bunch of Far Cry co-op and wanted to find another decent co-op game, so we picked up Splinter Cell Blacklist, which has some nice co-op in it also. So we streamed a bunch of that to Twitch last week. But it's a lot of fun going through the missions. There's like this one on a boat, or and in various places where you have to be kind of sneaky and get to a bunch of objectives, and so you can either stay together to do that or split up to do that. And I think we have some plans to do like my thought is anyway to go serious Hudson Hawk on this thing and essentially come up with a song that is kind of viable for the area, and so that we actually try to complete the mission in the time that it takes the song to complete and have it playing in the background while we do it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So there's
That's
like
great.
the one on the boat, and we ran it in at the highest difficulty in just over 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
But there's that song by Lonely Island on a boat that's like 3 minutes and 8 seconds. So I'm thinking, if we can do that, that would be pretty epic
Yeah.
to beat the boat level on the highest difficulty in that time. So we've been having fun with that. As you mentioned, I just did some more Trials Fusion, and I streamed that because I hadn't done any PS4 streaming yet, and that's a lot of fun. It's a combination of kind of fun and frustrating at sometimes because some of the levels are just brutal.
Hmm.
And I'm still working through medium at this point. Like those aren't even the hard levels.
Yeah.
Let's see. Continued doing some Dragon Age Origins. I didn't like list that on the thing, but it's just a constant. Maybe another 5 hours or something in on that. Such a long game. And then about another hour maybe on Child of Light, which is a nice one that you can kind of jump into once in a while, and
Yeah.
haven't really gotten too far along in the story, but the game mechanics are a lot of fun, and some of
Yeah.
that's up on Twitch too, I think, if you want to take a look at that sometime to see if you might want to play it.
Yeah. And for those who don't know yet, who are just seeing our cast for the first time, what is the Twitch URL?
Right, so it's www.twitch.tv/allthegamesinfo.
Yeah. So basically, so
And
so
yep,
yeah, I was just gonna say so far Borne's been the one streaming for us because I don't think my PC's capable or of doing it well anyway. So thanks for that, Borne.
yep,
It's got a lot of good content up there. It tends to be a lot of very popular games like Children of Light or you were playing Far Cry 3 with Will.
yep.
We've got a good recording of that up there. So definitely check it out. And I mean, we plan on having this stream live to Twitch. Actually, good question for you, Born. I know we were talking about it a little bit before we started recording. Are we streaming live to Twitch right now?
We are. We're
Yeah.
live.
We are live. I'm on Twitch right now. I'm not seeing it though. Maybe it's just my at a completely rogue circle. Maybe later. In
Really?
any case,
You can try refreshing the page, but no, it's
yeah,
definitely live.
there we go. That's neat that we can do that. I remember when we were recording World of Warcraft Chronicles, all this stuff was all
Hmm.
imaginary. Now
Yeah,
we can
we had to record it on like audio records, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
our show notes were in clay tablets.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was tough
Get-
times.
Getting them through from everybody that was listening to the show was very difficult, but we managed. So that's what we've been playing this week. And you know what, guys? For those of you listening or watching, please send us an email. Let us know what you are playing and what you're into these days. We'd love to talk about it on the show. You can send us an email at podcastallgames@gmail.com. Of course, you can visit us at www.allthegames.info. And you can visit us on Twitter at allthegamescast. And like Borne was saying, definitely on Twitch as well.
Yeah. And if there are any particular games which people are interested in having us stream, I'd be totally up to taking requests.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Borne is a connoisseur of games,
Hmm.
for sure. I think you buy almost everything, don't you?
Well, I think we talked about it a little this week. Everything, as much as we'd like to say we're all the games,
Yeah.
if you look at Steam lately, holy crap, there are so many games, so many terrible games that come out that no, right? Like I'll get all the ones generally that look interesting.
Yeah.
Um, but there, as much as Steam has been a good thing for the indie scene because it makes it a lot easier to actually get out there,
Yeah.
it's also, you see all this indie stuff that isn't terribly good, like the games that people make with RPG Maker or just, there's a lot of garbage that ends up on there. I don't think I actually put it in the show notes anywhere, but as I'm talking about indie, let me mention I'm mega super excited about Transistor coming out. I think on the 20th, maybe. I,
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it on Steam. I'm not sure whether I pre-ordered it also on the PlayStation Network to download and play on my PS4, but you know what? It's worth paying those guys twice, I think.
Yeah.
I know it's not out yet, but I still listen to the Bastion soundtrack all the time, and I'm sure that it's going to be a phenomenal game. There aren't any like benefits to pre-ordering. It doesn't look like you get really any sort of discount or anything, but so it's not really super necessary to do it for any reason, but it is available on Steam now if you want to grab it. I think
Yeah.
it's like 20 bucks maybe. If you want to also have the MP3s for the soundtrack, it's 30.
Oh yeah. So you can get all the sounds in the form of a soundtrack for an extra $10, eh?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool. Right on. And you're saying that the soundtrack is good enough that you'll listen to it, say, like on your way to work, or
A lot of the times I'll listen to at least the Bastion soundtrack while I'm working or
yeah,
just playing. Mostly I actually listen to podcasts while I'm driving. But yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I think that's it for the what we've been playing segment this week. So let's talk a little bit about the news. Lots in the news this week. We're going to start off by talking a little bit about the game Towns. Speaking of indie games, this is a new indie game that's now available on, or excuse me, not available on Steam anymore. It's been abandoned. So
Well, technically it is actually still available on Steam, and it's been there for a while. So I think this was one of those projects that went through the green light process, and it came out before the whole early access thing, so that despite the fact that it was still in development, it was still kind of sold as a finished game at that point.
okay,
Even though the developer had said, that there's a lot of work left to do on it, and they're going to continue work on it, and eventually it just not started not making all that much money. People didn't buy it. It was clearly unfinished
yeah,
as far as what they said was going to be available in the game. And so I think he handed off the work to another developer who has since then now given up on the game, and so it's going to be in this kind of forever unfinished state.
Hmm.
And people just aren't going to get any refunds. It's just not. There's no one to give people the refunds. Supposedly, what was it? At least 200,000 copies of the game were sold,
Wow, really?
right? So uh, it's just it's something to keep in mind, right? When you're
Yeah.
going and looking at these, at least they now have the early access system, but when you're considering buying a game that is still in development,
Yeah.
keep in mind that that money may very well just disappear. So
Yeah.
maybe you're a little better off than doing it through, somewhere where they haven't even started the game yet, like Kickstarter, where you don't even know if it's ever going to exist. At least here, you'll know that you can play some version of it, but it may very well be very bad and never finished. So
Did you happen to hear why this or well yeah this game was abandoned? Was it just because that it wasn't making money and the developer just decided to give up, cut his losses, or
yeah. Yeah, no, that was essentially it. It wasn't making enough money for them to bother finishing it. And so, like, to add insult to injury, the the guy the second developer who was working on it said that he talked to the original developer and they might go and start a Towns 2, which is kind of sad because if they can't finish the first one, why would you ever trust them to pay them
yeah.
money for them to go and start a second one? So I really hope if a Towns 2 ever comes out that no one gives them any money.
Was this one developed by like was it only ever one developer at any one time working on this game?
From what I read, it seemed like it.
Yeah, because it seems to me like if you sold 200,000 copies of a game, even at $1, for example, that's a fair bit of coin.
Fair bit of coin. Yeah, no,
So
he made some cash out of it, certainly.
yeah, hmm. Well, I guess he had his reasons, right?
Uh,
I guess just
Money.
yeah. So there you go, buyer beware if you're gonna shop on Steam. Actually, question about that. Is it regulated in any way, or can anybody who even puts an exe file together throw it up on Steam? So
Oh no, it's
what's
definitely regulated. Yeah. So there are a couple different processes, right? There's the green light process that you have to go through, and that actually takes people voting for your product,
hmm
uh, for them to consider putting it up on Steam, and that's regardless of whether it's finished or not. And I believe that there's some other like hoops that you need to jump through as far as being available as an early access product.
mm mm. All right.
All right, but
So
yeah.
moving on to the next item. More Destiny details regarding loot splitting and gearing. So Destiny, as you know, is Bungie's next foray into epicness. I guess is maybe a good way of doing it now that they've handed the reins off to Microsoft and I think it's 434 Studios with regards to Halo. They are working on Destiny. It's a little game that you might have heard about. We talked about this last week. I think we talked about this last week about how much they're investing
Yeah.
into the game.
Yeah.
So tell us about this news item.
500 mil. So this last week they just started talking a little bit about gearing and loot splitting and how that's going to work. And so far the news has been really good, particularly in comparison to like Borderlands, another game that you could probably compare to this one, which as far as like random grouping is super frustrating to play because the loot that drops in Borderlands and Borderlands 2 is just a free-for-all. So everyone can see it, everyone can grab it. And so if you get together with just a bunch of random people, a lot of the times you'll have people just running around picking up everything. And it's kind of the main reason why I don't go and play a lot of co-op Borderlands 2 with people that I don't know. Which is too bad because I think if it wasn't for that, if it was more like a Diablo or what they're going to do with Destiny, where everything that drops is for you. If you see ammo on the ground, you can pick it up. If on the ground, they're specifically for you, just like Diablo, so
Yeah.
that you don't have to worry about other people grabbing stuff, and certainly if you go and you find something that you think one of your buddies could use, you can give it to them or whatever, right? But it's just a lot less problematic than
Yeah.
and I really hope like down the line that Borderlands switches to that model too, because it's probably the most frustrating thing about that game for me.
Yeah. Yeah, so that I mean that's good news, right? You don't want to have to be worrying about what's dropping and making sure that you get to it as quickly as possible,
Yeah,
without regard for what sort of stats. Is this something that I actually want to carry? Is this something that I can ignore? And just picking it up randomly just to make sure nobody else gets it and you can inspect it later. That's not a whole lot of fun. So it's good that they're doing this, and I guess that's where their 500 million is going. Right?
right. So somewhere it'll really be interesting to see how this game can be worth that sort of investment, but
Yeah.
I'll totally play it.
Oh yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. I'm gonna give it a try too. But that, I mean, that is more than, as far as I know, more than any
anything. Yep.
Hollywood blockbuster movie has cost.
Oh,
Any video
probably.
game has cost. That's insane. So unless they're giving you a brick of gold with every pre-order, I don't know. All right, next item up is Sniper 3. Excuse me, Sniper Elite 3 is coming out on June 27th. Did you play the previous one? Sniper Elite 2?
Boy, have I played any of the Sniper Elite games? I'm not sure. I think I might have played one. It takes a lot of patience, you know,
Fair.
these
Fair.
sniper games, and historically, I can't really say that that's been my strong suit in games.
Yeah.
I've tried to get better at that, particularly now that we're doing the Splinter Cell stuff, where you have a real advantage if you just stay quiet when you're trying to take stuff out. So we'll see. It looks really pretty,
Yeah.
right? And the physics of it and everything look excellent. You know, when the bullet is actually like hitting the person, you see that kind of translucent view of their skull as the bullet goes through, and
Yeah, that's
it,
good times. They sort of did something similar in the second one. Now, granted, I only played the demo on PS3. I played it on, and even then, that feature, I guess you can call it, was really cool. And it was, to me, it was worth the time lining up the perfect shot to see as much carnage happen when the bullet hit. It was just a lot of fun. Now, granted, I never bought the game, but it was fun for what it. I just don't know how long it would last. How much replayability.
right.
There
Yeah,
is.
and it reminds me kind of the Hitman stuff too,
Mm.
where right you kill some guys, you want to kind of change position. Um, so yeah, I'd be tempted. Maybe I'll check out even the second one.
Hmm.
I don't think it came out that long ago. They seem to kind of pump these out relatively quickly, so maybe it is a decent. Do you remember how long it was that you played that one?
Must have been a couple years ago now.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a nice headshot right there.
Yeah.
There you go. I love the eyeballs too.
Yeah.
It's the surprise.
Popping out.
Yeah.
Right. And they show at least one shot here where the guy essentially takes out the whole truck by shooting a bullet through the engine block.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let me
That
see.
happens.
Yeah, you can't do that? Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Right here. It's the magic bullet.
Yeah. Alright, and then just the whole thing explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
Why
with these
not?
missiles, man.
Yeah. You just shoot one of those like through that little peephole in the tank and maybe have it ricochet around and kill all the guys in the tank. I don't know.
That is pretty cool. Like you see how much damage the bullet does. Like it's neat.
Yeah, and so that's coming out on June 27th. So
Yeah.
it's a little ways out.
Yeah. At the very least, might be worth downloading the demo, right? And checking it out. So
Yeah.
anyway, moving on. Epic starting work on an open source Unreal tournament. This makes me excited. I like this a lot. I can't wait. What do we know about this?
I watched a little bit of the stream, so it looks like they do have kind of some general tools that they're working from. Like they're certainly using, right, their Unreal Engine, which they sell, and so I think there are a lot of reasons for them to do this, right? As making Unreal Tournament open sourced can get a lot of developers, I think, that might have otherwise not into using the Unreal Engine itself.
Yeah.
Plus, you get like outside people taking a look at how some good usage of it is, and I think their plan in the long run is to still have some sort of store, or I'm sure they're going to monetize it in some way once it comes out beyond just the game, which I know is supposed to be free to play,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
And all
Yeah.
the source is supposed to be available on GitHub. And I do think as long as it comes out well, that it should be just awesome for people who want to use the Unreal Engine in their own 3D games and have some really nice source and code to work from for that.
Well, Epic is, I mean, they've been licensing out the Unreal Engine for years to other developers, right? And
Yeah.
there's a reason why so many developers use it. It's because it's awesome. And if a little while back, I saw was it Final Fantasy? I think there was a Final Fantasy uh, Unreal Engine demo that was floating around. Did it come out of E3 last year? I don't remember. Did you see this?
No, Final Fantasy?
I thought it was Final Fantasy. I'm almost positive. I'll see if I can find it, and maybe we can talk about it next week, or I can post it to the site. But it looked awesome, and that was last year. So I just imagine what they've done to it since then.
Hmm.
But anyway, getting back to Unreal, if they're going to make it free to play and give people the ability to mod it, oh man,
Yeah.
cannot wait.
But, the development is really just starting on
Yeah,
the game itself, and so I think, it's likely to be a long time before it comes out.
yeah,
Though, because it's open source, we should be able to see a lot of information about the progress on it too. It's kind of, I think, unprecedented for this kind of game to be doing the development that way. It'll be interesting how it works out.
yeah. All right, moving on to our next news item, Sunset Overdrive. Getting our first look at that one. Maybe not the first look, but it's being developed by Insomniac Games. It's looking pretty interesting. I know you were you were thinking about this one, right? You're sort of into some of the driving games, right?
Well, yeah, and this is more of a, boy, how to compare it to other games. It has a bit of an infamous kind of prototype moving around the city, first person shooter, but then all of a sudden it's kind of cartoony, right? Like I don't know, you're watching the video right now,
Yeah, no,
right?
you know what? I was thinking it was something else.
Right. Maybe you're thinking of
Uh,
Drive Club or one of the other ones,
yeah.
right?
So this sort of, yeah, you're right. It looks a lot like Infamous, kind of mixed, or a hybrid of Infamous and uh, oh man, this is my old age kicking in. Saints Row is the cartoony look
Sure.
makes me think of that.
Yeah.
So
But over the top weapons. I don't know. We'll see how it works out. I could play it.
mhm. Hmm. Well, I guess if you're a fan of the sandbox open world stuff, it kind of looks like that, and it might be fun. Might be. Is this coming to PS4, Xbox One only, or PC as well?
Boy, that's a good question. I'm not completely sure. It looks pretty next gen-y, so I assume it'll be at least PS4, Xbox One, but
Hmm.
I'm not sure about the PC or not. Usually, because those two platforms are so similar to the PC now, there, I don't think there's much of an excuse for a company who comes out with those to not have it come out for the PC also,
Both.
unless it's a specific exclusive.
Yeah, yeah. All
Yeah.
right, the next item on our list is the next Unreal tournament to be openly developed. We kind of already talked about that.
Oh yeah, we have that in there twice.
Yeah.
I'll get rid of it.
All right. Swordsman, the competitor for Age of Wushu, which which we talked about a little. Was it last week? I think it's last
I
week.
think we talked about a little Age of Wushu last week, yeah, and so these are, that's a little video from Swordsman, which I think it looks considerably better than Age of Wushu. It'll be interesting to see, what else it has in there other than the combat, because there really is a lot to Age of Wushu beyond just the combat.
Hmm.
And I don't know how it is as far as PvE versus PvP, etc. But it looks like with this style of combat, PvE could be a lot more interesting.
Hmm.
And because I do like the Asian environment, I'm really excited to check this one out. I signed up for the beta, and you can register for it right now.
Hmm. Kind of reminds me of maybe a cross between, like you said, Age of Wushu, and a bit of God of War and
Yeah.
Dynasty Warriors.
Dynasty Warriors, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Looks interesting. So it is an MMO then, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. No, it looks interesting, and I'm always pro more MMOs. I love them. They're one of my favorite genres. So anything that brings something new to the genre, and there's not really a whole lot of Asian themed MMOs out there. At least not in the Western world, as far as I
Yeah.
know.
Not good ones.
Not
There
good.
there have been plenty, Silk Road, and there have been a ton of, what feel like pretty cheap Eastern imports where,
Yeah.
right, not a lot of time was really done, and it didn't really look that good.
Yeah. Mm. So
I
sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say any ETA on when it's coming out. I mean, they're announcing more classes right now, but any ETA on when
Yeah, all I saw with that was that it was available to get in, and register for the beta at this point. I haven't seen any release dates on it.
I see. Huh. All right. Well,
Yeah.
we'll keep everybody posted because that one does look interesting. We'll keep it on our radar. Next
Yeah.
up, Walk Season 2, Episode 3 comes out next week. So kind of a spoiler if you haven't watched the show, but if you haven't watched the show, shame on you.
Yeah, well, and not even, yeah, sort of. Did you play the game at all?
Let me ask you this: is it different than the one that's available on mobile?
I don't know. There's one available on the mobile
Yep, there
devices.
is. There's a Walking Dead. I think it's very story driven, making decisions type of game rather than like say a third
Yeah.
person
Do you,
action.
do you know? Is it from Telltale or?
I don't know actually. Let's see if I can find it here.
Yeah.
Uh, so about this one, this is episode 3 out of season 2. Does
Yeah.
it follow the TV show? Then you're basically
Nope.
playing through the show.
Completely different.
Completely different. Eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is nice, I think.
Hmm.
I played through most of season 1. I haven't even touched season 2 yet, actually. I hear that in season 2 you play more from like the little girl's perspective, but
Oh yeah.
since you haven't played it at all, you don't. But I enjoyed it a lot. I do need to finish up season 1, and I probably won't start season 2 until it finishes because I hate to get like halfway through and have to wait for more content to come out.
Yeah.
But it's always been, it's got a nice kind of visual style to it. The story is generally really strong.
Hmm. Just while you're speaking, I looked up the mobile version of it, and it is indeed made by Telltale.
Yeah, so it might be exactly the same.
Yeah. Hmm. So yeah, I played what's currently available on mobile. I don't know if they've released any of season 2 yet though. And I liked it. I mean, I love The Walking Dead, so definitely check it out if you
Yep.
haven't. Okay, moving on. Some images from the Telltale Borderlands game.
Yeah.
They didn't develop the first one or the first two, did they?
No, and this isn't a Borderlands game. It is a Telltale game in the Borderlands universe.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So it'll be more story driven, in the standard Telltale style.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that should be interesting. I've always thought that the Borderlands universe was kind of quirky and funny and well put together, and I would totally play that.
Yeah, so would I. I mean, I love both of the Borderlands games. I haven't played either in a a long time, but I love the blend of first-person shooter and Diablo-esque loot. So this will be interesting that it's blending sort of. I don't want to say two different genres, but two different styles of games maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be good. Should be good.
Yeah.
This one, yeah, we kind of poked fun at this last week. Nintendo reports losses of around $500 million last year.
Yeah, so we were just kind of randomly making fun of Mario Kart 8. and then uh, and then the day after that, this news came out. And exactly no one was surprised.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I think I read on IGN today. One of the IGN guys was, he had put the question out there. I think this was on one of their podcasts, but he had put the question out there: why does the president of Nintendo still have a job?
Right.
Really, right? This is 3 years in a row now that they've lost millions upon millions of dollars. And now, just while we're on the topic of Nintendo, I found this kind of funny. This little tidbit. I don't know if you've heard this, Borne, but apparently they're working on an entry level gaming console for the Asian market. Yeah, and it won't be available in North America. Did you hear this?
I did hear that they were working on another piece of hardware. Yeah. Because they can't lose money fast enough. I don't know.
I guess. But do they think this is gonna I don't know, man. Is this gonna save them?
I'd be really surprised. Because they're kind of over there, maybe they just understand the Asian market way better than any of us, and so they think that it'll do well. I know there are a bunch of kind of laws in China around the availability of game systems, and I think they're kind of like paranoid about the people who live there getting addicted, right? They have like camps and stuff for people to get that out of their system. But it's not like China's going to make a bunch of opportunities for Japan consoles to come in, because in general the two like aren't super happy buddies with each other.
No,
So it's baffling, right? Like if anything, I would think they would probably do worse in China because of the animosity between the two countries. But
they're not.
maybe for most of the citizens that's not the case, or I don't know how well the 3DS is selling over there. So maybe they think if that does well, they can sell this. But again, mobile devices are exploding in Asia, and they would just be way better off making some of their IPs available on like Android and iOS.
Yeah, and you know what? It's funny you bring that up because they talked about that in this article that I was reading. The president of Nintendo was asked, why are you not developing versions of your most popular IPs for, say, iPhone or Android? And he said that those IPs, whether it be Mario or Zelda or Metroid, are specifically developed with their hardware in mind. So to release it on an iPhone, for example, which the game was never meant to be on, was never developed with that platform in mind, would devalue the IP, and over the long haul, would not satisfy their consumer. That it would leave their consumer not enjoying those IPs as much as if they were on an actual Nintendo platform. And I thought to myself, well, look at how much they're enjoying them now.
Yeah, because yeah. And the fact that it's like so many people are not enjoying them because they don't have that Nintendo hardware, but I think that's just that's complete BS. It's not what hardware you run it on that makes the value of the IP. It's the actual quality of the game. Just ask Blizzard about every game that they put out, right?
That's right.
It's completely the quality of the game and how fun it is, and what hardware it runs on does not matter at all. So I guess maybe they'll just play that card into the grave as far as Nintendo goes, and eventually the IP will have to get sold off to other companies, and then something useful can be done with it.
I'd be willing to play a Pokemon game, or I would love to play a Zelda game.
Yeah.
I haven't played a Zelda game since I was 14 years old. And not because I don't like Zelda, but because I just don't own a Wii or a DS, there's
Yeah.
nothing on those platforms that I'm not going to go out and buy a whole platform simply for the 5 games that they or the IPs that they've got.
Yeah, no, there are some awesome 3DS games, and I would absolutely pay to play them on my phone.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too.
Right?
I've got my phone with me wherever I go, on my lunch break or on my, if I'm commuting home on the subway or what have you. I would play that stuff. And I'm sorry, I'm just not going to go out and buy a $200 handheld device just to play, the few games that I'd like to play. But that's me. And
Yeah.
apparently it's a lot of other
I don't
people.
think it's just you.
Yeah, their hardware
Yeah.
just isn't selling. Now, granted, their portable stuff sells, but
Sorry.
sorry, that's okay. I got
Yep.
muted there.
Me too.
But just think of the market that they're not tapping into by avoiding mobile. There's like everybody's got a phone now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a massive market. I mean, it's essentially everyone,
Yeah,
right?
everybody's a potential customer, and you don't have that barrier of people having to buy your hardware
Yeah.
to play your software.
And
The software
because
is good software.
yeah, and their hardware is usually like low end enough that I think those games would play really well on phones.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a mistake on Nintendo's part, but hey, I'm not the Nintendo, or I'm not the president of Nintendo, so
Yeah.
maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But there you
No, I think they'd be better off with you, but we'll see.
go. We'll see. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last item on our news list is Defiance is to go free to play on June 4th on the PC and July 15th on the PS3. You gonna play this now that it's free to play?
I actually paid for it already, so it
Ah,
doesn't make a big difference to me. And it's actually super cheap right now. It's something like maybe $10 on Steam.
yeah.
So it's not a huge jump to go free to play, but maybe it'll get more people into it. It's not a terrible shooter. There's some DLC that you can or cannot get depending on whether you get very far into the game. But as far as FPS MMOs go, I think it'll probably be the best that you could do right now.
You think it's better
Once
than
once Destiny comes out, that won't really be true anymore.
yeah.
But still, for the PC, because Destiny supposedly is not coming out on the PC, it'll still probably be the best you can do on the PC. Unless all of a sudden Firefall does something useful.
Yeah. I know we're talking about Defiance right now, but just going back to Destiny, what I'm really hoping that Destiny does not turn out to be, and I don't think it will, given the amount of investment that they're putting into it and the fact that it's Bungie working on it. Do you remember the game Brink?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
played some Brink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't Brink supposed to be what Defiance is supposed to be?
Um, boy, it was a lot less MMO-ish. It's like there was certainly a story there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't. Boy, did it have RPG elements? It's been a while. I don't
It's
even
been a while. I
completely
don't
remember.
remember.
There might have been some light type of RPG elements to it. Um, I didn't think that game was that bad. It probably could have done better as far as sales and stuff go, but yes, certainly Destiny should do much better with that kind of money invested into it.
I would hope so. I would really hope so. But I guess it'll be. I hope it doesn't tank. And I hate to say what I'm about to say. I hate to. Not that this gentleman has anything to do with Destiny, but it just makes me think of Peter Molyneux a little bit and
Mm.
how everything he talks about.
Grand, grand.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's gonna be the best thing since sliced bread.
yeah,
And then it comes out and it's okay,
right.
right?
No,
Whenever
that's
he
pretty
does
accurate.
like that,
Yeah,
I don't know. I
yeah,
just think of Peter Molyneux for that.
yeah. Well, anytime you talk something up that much, right? It's really hard to live up to those expectations.
Yeah.
And so I think ends up being a little better to undersell and come out with,
Over.
exactly, right? Undersell, over deliver. Uh, but I don't know, like, financially, if it ends up being better to oversell as far as pre-orders and actually making money off of the game. It may be a
Yeah.
good thing in the short term, but then in the long term, once people kind of get smart to the fact that you do that every time, like if you consider the game that he's been working on recently, right, which is the God Us whatever thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
No worries.
I I've kind of skipped picking that up specifically because it's one of these Molyneux gonna change the world type of things that I'll wait and see.
Poor guy. I don't know. Like I remember when he and granted, Fable was a good game, and I wanted Fable 2, or sorry, not Fable 1 and 2. I loved, but Fable 3. And he talked that game up so much, and it sounded like it was so good, and I don't know, I didn't really care for it.
Yeah, no, all the Fable ones I think were pretty mediocre.
Yeah, yeah, I thought they were okay. But
Yeah,
you're right, they weren't anything like he was touting.
yeah, I played them, right,
Yeah,
and there were some interesting things in there that maybe you hadn't seen in other games previously in that way, like the land ownership and some of the relationship stuff was interesting, and the good evil choices, but overall as far as how fun it was, kind of middle of the road.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, hopefully for Peter Molyneux's sake, his next game turns out to be as grand as he hopes it is. I think
Yeah,
that's it, Born.
not likely,
Yeah,
but yep,
boy, we got through this one in under an hour this week, eh?
that's nice. I think people might enjoy that after our
Yeah,
long-windedness in the past.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm anxious to see how our video version of this turns out. I want to watch it on Twitch. I still wasn't able to bring up the live stream, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe going forward, after the cast, if we end up having it relatively short, we can go and play some stuff together and stream it.
Yeah, definitely, man, for sure.
Keep it going. Yeah.
Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna pick up a PS4 or upgrade my PC. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah.
Should
Yeah.
be PS4, but
Yeah.
anyway.
All right, I could, maybe suck it up and do some WoW. I don't. Well, we could see.
Let
What?
me find out if I don't even know if it's good long term that I'm playing this. I just want to
Yeah.
get back into it because it'll run on my PC really really well, and I might even be able to stream some of it. And
Yep.
I'll always have a place in my heart for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, no, I don't mind jumping in there and fiddling around, and I think I still have a few tunes like around 85, 86 that I could certainly run through the Panda content with you and level them
Yeah,
up to 90.
right on. Yeah, I'll have to try that this week. Maybe on my day off this week, see if I can stream it. Because I'd love to stream. It's fun. It's good. But I got to be able to do it. I need hardware to be able to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, let's wrap this baby up. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Like we had said earlier, by all means, get in touch with us. We want to hear from you. We want the show to be interactive. So hit us up on Twitter at allthegamescast. Or you can email us at podcastallthegames@gmail.com. And of course, visit us on the web at www.allthegames.info. Our Twitch URL is twitch.tv/allthegamesinfo. So you can catch us there. Borne's got some good recordings up so far. And we're going to expand on that. We're also going to be on the YouTube as well. We're going to put everything up on YouTube. So there you go. So if we are, by the time you're watching or listening to this, we happen to be on YouTube, or if you're looking at us on Twitter, please hit that follow button or like button or subscribe button. We do appreciate that.
All the
And more,
buttons.
all the buttons.
Click on all the buttons for all the games.
All the games. All the buttons. All the games. Borne, it's been a pleasure as always, my friend.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, we'll catch all you guys next Saturday. And if you want to come and watch us live, we'll have maybe put the details of that up on the website this week. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. We usually try to keep it at Saturday night around 10ish.
Yeah.
Obviously, if people start watching live, we'll try to be as possible.
hmm I think we've only missed 1 week, and that was because I was out of town.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or power,
uh,
something, right?
oh yeah, I
Yeah.
ended up going out of town because the power was out.
Yeah.
So yeah, not much to do if you don't have power these days.
Nope, it happens.
That's right.
Absolutely. And we do still have some plans to get some more folks onto the podcast to get some
Yes.
other points of view and people who like play other games other than what we play.
Yeah, that's right. It's always good to have other perspectives out there. So if that's something that you'd like to do, you want to join us on the show, very easy to do. All you need is a headset, and you know what? In the future, we might not even need Audacity anymore.
Yep, pretty much a headset might
Yeah,
do it.
just be good to
Yep.
go. So hit us up, and we'll talk about it. Other than that, you have yourself a good week, Borne. We'll talk to you soon about more video games, what we've been doing over the week.
Yep.
All right, take care. And on three,
Oh, one sec.
yeah,
Okay.
1, 2.